fun fact about these reviews. Going into it, we don't know what the other one's thinking. Like, for instance, we saw World War Z. I have no idea what he thinks, which is why whenever we start one of these and I start with the zinger, I'm always unsure at the end because I'm not sure, is this going to be the one where he disagrees? Is this going to be the one? However, World War Z, I liked it.
I did too. I thought it was great. One thing about World War Z, though, it's a fun thing I like. Those of you who are old enough to remember the Smurfs, not the CG version with Neil Patrick Harris and all that.
It's exactly the same.
But no. Hold on! Let me finish. Anyways, there was an episode of the Smurfs where the Smurfs, everybody knows, are blue. Well, one of them gets infected by this thing and it turns purple. Now, this came out in the 80s and 90s. And it would go around and bite other ones, and then it would turn purple. And it would bite other ones, and they would turn purple. And they would just hop along and like make a noise. And they'd just bite the other Smurfs and turn them all into purple Smurfs that would just hop around and bite. And so...
I'm curious where he's going with this too.
Watching this movie, that's what I think of, because it's just hilarious how like the same thing back in the day on a children's cartoon is kind of played out in like a global scale zombie movie.
Now, just a little FYI, I don't know about you, Ryan. I have not read the book. Have you?
No.
So if you're expecting a play-by-play beatdown of, they were true to this scene, or I can't believe they cut out the Quidditch World Cup, or whatever, you're not going to get it on this interview. But I have to say, just going through the story real quick for those who don't know. Essentially, Brad Pitt is in a zombie apocalypse, and it's up to him. Yeah.
But in this zombie apocalypse, they went with, I believe it was Sam Raimi who did Quarantine, where the zombies were actually humans infected with rabies, they called it. And I think it's kind of cool where they use a disease that people know about, and they use it to kind of like give a name or give something to the disease that causes people to be zombies. Like, oh, they're just a zombie. Well, now it's like, oh, this is like a strain of like the rabies virus or something like that. And that's what's, and that's what they start. They don't call it that's the rabies virus or anything like that. But that's how it's like reported at the beginning. It's like people infected with the rabies virus. And it's kind of cool that they have something that you can kind of like link to. Because if you think about like animals and stuff like that, they don't act like zombies when they're infected with rabies. I mean, they don't sit there and like run around. You don't see a squirrel rabies running around eating all the squirrels' brains and like turning them into zombie squirrels. But it's kind of cool where they actually give you an idea of like, here's a person with the disease. This is what we think it is, and you could see where, like rabies would fit into a zombie idea.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that goes into it, I love how they, like you were saying, they try the thought process of how the government is handling it, how, they have, I almost said botanists, but doctors and all that looking into it, and they treat it like a viral infection, and it's actually an interesting way to go about this. I wanted to take a moment and talk about the pace of the movie, which I really enjoyed. Like, it starts off, and it's just like Brad Pitt's character, much like he is. You're thrown violently into this zombie outbreak, and it's I loved how that started off, and you're just watching Brad Pitt, basically do what pretty much anyone would, well, if you're lucky, what he would do in a zombie apocalypse.
And what I also like about Brad Pitt's character, he's got a family and everything, he links to the family. Most of these movies where you're like, look, you're an expert in this field, and we need your expertise in this, and the guy just like cocks the gun and goes, lead the way. Like in the action movies, you always see like there's no hesitation from the hero. And in this movie, Brad Pitt's like, look, I got a family, they're my priority. I don't care what's, I don't want to leave them. I want to protect them, and it brings a sense of humanity to the hero character, which you don't see in a lot of movies.
Yeah, and when Brad Pitt character, when he goes off on his own and he starts doing what he needs to do, it actually, for me, it really turns into almost a video game in the pace, because he'll go into a completely new area. By the way, the settings and even the CG on a lot of these zombies look fantastic. And he'll go to a different area, and then some big event comes in, and it's like a frenzy to survive. And it's actually a very exhilarating rush each time.
Yeah, definitely. And the best part about this is you see like the different countries and how they're trying to figure out how to work with it and how to attack it on their own instead of just like, well, here's the U.S. The U.S. is the only country in the world that can protect the world from this virus. When actually in the movie, the U.S. isn't the ones the most prepared for this, and I think that's cool. It shows that, yeah, we might have the best military might because that's where all the funding and stuff goes to, and we police the world and stuff like that. But we're not always going to be the best prepared for every situation that arises.
Yeah, and throughout the movie, I actually got introduced to a few new ways that I'd never thought of to fight a zombie outbreak. Like, I won't mention it specifically, but remember the scene with the guy in the cage?
Mm-hmm.
That his way of how X country handled it. I'd never thought of doing that. And I was like, oh my, that's pretty clever. I like that.
Yeah, and they went about, and it could be just a book and how the writer, the author wrote it. It was just, it made a zombie movie a now movie.
Mm.
It's not like in the woods. It's not like, some weird thing happened and it turned into this huge thing. It kind of like makes it more of a believable, oh God, the zombie apocalypse could actually happen. Mm. Or the cat apocalypse, because I believe that's coming. 90-year-old women will rule the world because they will be the owner of the cats that take over it.
I especially like the beginning because I can't explain what it was, but I was watching him trying to survive with his family, and it made me. It was one of those moments that made me wonder, think about how I would handle it if it was like me and my wife or something. You know what I mean? And it really made you root for his character even more. Brad Pitt, by the way, I thought did a fantastic job with this role. And
definitely.
As he typically does. It's Brad Pitt. But yeah, and the characters he meets, once again, feels like a video game. In fact, this is kind of what I wish Resident Evil was like, this game.
Not to be confused with the movie Doom, which tried to act like a video game in points, where they did like the first person shooter of the gun to make it look like you're actually like the player running through with the gun shooting people. It's not that kind of like, I felt like it was a video game type of movie.
If there's one thing I could critique, because overall I like the movie, but I thought the zombies were a little goofy.
Well, I think the best part about the zombie thing is they're acting on instinct, and it's a new breed of creature that's not seen, not been known. So I think we see all the other movies and you see how they act and interact and stuff. And I think I really liked how they interact with people and like how they did with stuff. Because if you think about it, like the things they did in the movement, it causes fear. When people fear, they run.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was you who said it in the theater, but you pretty much compared the zombies in this movie to a swarm of bees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like killer bees. One of the traits the zombies have, if you kill one of the zombies, it kind of alerts the other zombies, and they come flocking in. And I'm like, it's just like killer bees.
Mm. And as he was saying with it's a virus, it is really that quick.
10 seconds.
10 you get bit, and within seconds you're ready to go as a zombie. It's fantastic. And don't get me wrong. I mean, as far as zombie goes, it's great. They're like little things that made me that I kind of found kind of goofy, like. They decided to make them sound like freaking dinosaurs, and they basically how to do them. Yeah, they're always doing that, and it was like okay. And there was this one scene where they tend to lead with their mouth. I've noticed in a few scenes, they're like, it made me chuckle a few times.
We call that scare tactics.
There are quite a few jump scares. One that really got me too. So
like the very beginning in the stairway.
Yeah. That was one. And I have to admit, going into this, I'm not a huge zombie guy. I was like, I'm not. And I was going, I was like, oh, whoop-de-doo, another zombie film. And for some reason, like. After I think the third month of build, because it feels like I've been seeing commercials for this for 6 months now. It was like, okay, whatever. It's World War Z, great. But I was really pleasantly surprised, and thank God, because after last week with that garbage that was Superman, or excuse me, Man of Steel. Yeah, you heard me. Come at me with your comments. I'm really happy to actually sit down and watch a good movie. So it was good.
But that's us though. I mean, we get the break where we have a good movie, and then it's just like downhill crap.
Which I'm bracing myself for next week. I'll tell you what, more on that later. Is there anything else you wanted to go over? I mean, it's pretty much just Brad Pitt. I mean...
Well, my favorite thing is, here's another thing. There's no contingency plan for a zombie attack. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows how to handle it.
President's dead. VP's missing.
Right? And a lot of movies, it's like, we have this bunker here in this place because we planned for it. We have this here. This is a facility. That's a facility. They're like, look, we don't know what we're doing. Everybody's missing. People are dead. We need to figure out what's going on. And everybody's getting overrun. And there's anarchy everywhere. There's no plan. There's no nothing. And you don't get that a lot in military movies. Usually there's a contingency plan for zombies. Which, there probably is because of enough worldwide spread of panic that they probably have a contingency for zombies out there. But in this movie, it shows that people kind of thought zombies would be ridiculous. Come on, that's zombies. It's only a movie thing. It's not like we thought Dracula was going to come out in the 1970s when all in the 50s they had Dracula movies. Oh my God, there's vampires in the world. We must come up with sunlight things like that and blades, weapons, and zombies. It's funny because I think the people connect with the zombies more than any other monster in the world, and I think that's why it's such a big phenomenon because you believe that could happen. Alright, some dude's gonna turn into a bat and come after me and turn me into this blood-sucking creature. Okay, go pound some sand. Somebody's gonna bite me, my flesh is gonna rot, and I'm gonna want to eat somebody's brain. That's gonna happen.
I don't know. There are varying degrees of it. The thing I've never understood, why does the dead want to eat us?
Because their brains don't function anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's why they eat our brains, because they need certain chemicals that the brains produce in their body, and that's why they eat our brains.
Okay, well, what about this? The ones that are just practically skeletons. How does that work? Because they have no muscle.
It's easy. Magic.
So what would you give it for a rating?
I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Mine is definitely up there. If you love zombie films, well, you probably saw it already, but even if you don't like zombie films, I think you'd be really surprised. Go give it a look. See, if you like action especially, it's a tremendous thrill rush. And go see it in movies. And who knows, you may go to Amazon tonight and pre-order it. It was really good.
Definitely, and this is definitely one I'm so glad I went and saw in the theaters. And I'm actually going to go see it again with a bunch of friends. It was that good, and there's not a lot of movies that come out nowadays that I say that to. So far, the movies that we've all reviewed,
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Wanted to see Now You See Me.
Yeah, Fast and Furious 6.
Fast and Furious 6. And this. So we've had
Iron Man 3 was good too.
Yes. But we've only had a handful of movies I want to go see again.
Internship?
It was good.
Give or take.
It wasn't something I need to go see in the theaters, but I would buy it.
I would too, yeah. I'd wait till it went to $15, but yeah, I would buy it. So next week, our movie is White House Down.
Yes. Takes place in Mississippi, one of those big White Houses with the columns, back in the slave country. Right? That's what we're talking about? That White House?
No,
Oh.
Capitol.
Why is every Mississippi movie have that one big White House with the pillars and stuff like that, on the bayou or something, It's this really swampy area in the background and this beautiful White House.
See, starring, what is it, Chad Tatum or Chase Tatum?
Sure.
Okay. And Jamie Foxx as,
That's
of course...
Channing Tatum.
Thanks.
It just popped in my head.
Oh, okay.
Now if it was some hot chick, I would be able to There you go.
And Jamie Foxx is Barack Obama, of course. I still don't know if this is supposed to be an action film or a comedy.
Maybe it's supposed to be a comedy action. Like the new Naked Gun. No, it's supposed to be an action movie. We haven't seen any movies in a long time where like the White House got attacked by anybody. Maybe that should be a plot in G.I. Joe or like other movies that are just recently coming out.
And I can't help but feel what we just did this movie. Oh yeah, it was called Olympus Down. Oh, Olympus Has Fallen, I think.
Yes. I didn't see Zeus in that movie. Kind of upset. That's the only reason I went. I was hoping Kratos from God of War would show up and start kicking some butt. But it was about like the president. I was like, that's the White House. That's not Olympus.
Now, going into this film, what are your expectations?
Well, seeing as how I've already seen the films, I don't have any expectations anymore. So it would be, what was my expectations? And I thought it was going to be an amazing movie. Just from the trailers I saw, how they had the zombies set up. And, this is the first movie where you see like a flood of zombies like just coming at you like a tidal wave.
I was actually talking about White House.
Oh. Sorry. I was thinking of good movies. No, I think it's got a good premise to it. It's got, the White House being attacked. The president can actually defend himself in this movie. And I don't know if, like, it's just running late with the movies or they want to compete with the other movies. Which you always kind of feel skeptical about when you have a whole bunch of movies have the same basis come out 1 month and then, like, a month or so later another one comes out. Usually it's because it's, some they say it's like, oh, well, we filmed later on in this. And sometimes it's just they don't want to compete with the other movies. And I always feel like if you don't think you want to compete with other movies, it's because you don't think it's as good as the other movies. And you can't, and you're like, oh, well, they did it. Well, why wouldn't you come up beforehand if you thought it was better? I always get a little worried when I see a movie that's been done, like, last month by, like, a couple other movies, and then now they're coming out with theirs.
Yeah. I think it could be a good popcorn flick at the very least. I mean, it looks very action-y.
Yes, popcorn flicks. Now you can buy your ticket and pay just about as much for the popcorn.
Give it time. It'll be just as much one day.
That's okay. We'll still buy it.
Oh, one last piece of advice here. If you end up being in a zombie apocalypse, if you see Brad Pitt, run the hell away from him. Because usually bad stuff's going to happen.
I'll tell you one other thing. If you're in a zombie apocalypse, find a redneck trailer park. You know why? I'll tell you why. That's going to be the most fortified place in the world. I'm going to tell you why. Here it is. 1, everybody in that trailer park, down to like the 5-year-old, knows how to use a gun. 2, they have plenty of fluids. Granted, it might be alcohol, but still plenty of fluids. And 3, they just like shooting for fun. So if it's something that they can shoot for, like for free, it's like, hey, this is pretty cool. Sweet. If you ever watch zombie movies, they actually show that off in a little bit. A couple of zombie movies, like, you'll have like a redneck area where they're all having fun. They're having a blast. They're not scared. They're like, we get to shoot people for free. We don't have to make any hunting accidents. But no, it's, people talk about rednecks being stupid Americans and all this. They're going to be the most protective people in a zombie apocalypse.
Now I want to introduce a new segment here. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to ask you, how do you think this movie is going to do in theater? Because there have been a few times where we've said no, but you guys went and saw it anyway, and it made several million.
I believe this movie's going to do great in the theaters. People are still striving for zombie movies. Right now, there's not a lot of zombie movies coming out. And they like seeing new zombie. I mean, we had the Resident Evil movies, and they keep coming out. We all go see them. I love the Resident Evil movies. I'll see them all.
Those will never die. As long as the director is married to that actress, they'll never die.
And I think zombies is like the new... Like, if you put zombies versus Twilight, the tweens will be eaten alive.
Literally.
Because you can say, like, Twilight was, like, this huge fan base, but zombies have way more fan base than Twilight ever will.
Plus, this is also based on a pretty nice book too. So, from what I understand,
I would say
haven't
that
read
he
it.
did not read.
That I did not read.
The
But
cover looks pretty.
after about the third month of having Brad Pitt shoved down my throat with this movie, I was okay. Well, get that book away from me. But now I think I'll read it. So,
Yes, because I'm pretty sure Brad Pitt is mentioned in the book.
Well, he was mentioned in the movie. That's for damn sure.
Pretty sure Brad Pitt was not mentioned in the movie.
He was in the trailers. Hey, Brad Pitt. Look, he's blonde.
You might have mentioned him when you saw him in the trailers, but I didn't see any trailers when I said Brad Pitt is now playing a government agent bent on destroying zombies.
And one last thing, and then we'll end the show, I promise.
Maybe.
Why is it that it's almost taboo to call them zombies in the movies? Like, we were talking, they're primarily called Zeeks, but they're called, like, zombies once, and then that's it. And then I've noticed in other films, they try not to call them zombies.
Because people, like I said, people want to come out with the original, want to come out with a different idea. And they don't want to be compared to, like, how zombies were back in, like, Night of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead 2. Because you had, like, Night of the Living Dead 3, I think it was, where they kind of, like, change the personalities a little bit of zombies and kind of try to evolve them. A lot of people are trying to not use the zombie tag because they don't want to have to be compared exactly to, like, this is how the zombies are supposed to act, this is how they work, this is how it goes on. By giving them a slightly different name and kind of comparing them to a zombie, but saying they're not really what the zombies are, it gives them a little more leeway to argue the fact that, look, our zombies might not meet your criteria of what zombie movies are, but, we wanted to go in a different route. We didn't want to use the zombie name because we didn't want you to think that this is actually exactly how they're supposed to act.
So, do you think that was the thought process behind Blackula? Or, like, it's not a vampire movie, because you see, it's slightly different here.
No, they definitely, when they came out with Blackula, I think it was a spoof to get, like Leslie Nielsen dead and loving it.
But yeah, but at the end of the day, it gets, going back to the original question, they get categorized as zombie films, regardless of how they do it. So it just always...
No, it's not the film genre that they're trying to dodge. It's the fan base.
Okay.
Because fans are like the hardest people, especially when you have people who are passionate about characters, like comic book characters. When you change how, like, people die and, like, how superheroes react to situations when that it would be a bunch of malarkey.
Alright, folks. That does it for this episode here. Like us on the bottom. Leave a comment below. Hey, maybe you're okay with them not being called zombies in movies.
I'm okay.
Let us know. And what do you think about White House Down? Do you think it'll be good? Let us know. Folks, thank you very much. We'll see you next week.